So recently at the Still Retreat with young adults, we had the chance to spend some time in the mornings talking about spiritual disciplines. And basically, spiritual disciplines are sort of acts in which we do to sort of create space for spiritual growth to happen. The practices themselves don't save us or make us more holy, but they create space in order for us to fix our eyes and our attention on the one who does. And so we got to spend some time obviously talking about the idea of being still before God. And so we talked about studying his word. We talked about prayer. We talked about the discipline of celebration as we watch people get baptized. And I loved looking at this passage in 1 Timothy 4, where Paul is talking to his little brother in the faith about the importance of spiritual discipline, even for the sake of being able to remember and stay on what is true. It says this in 1 Timothy 4, verse 7, after speaking of false doctrine, says, "Have nothing to do with godless myths or old wives' tales. Rather, train yourself to be godly. For physical training is of some value, but godliness has value for all things, holding promise for both the present life and the life to come." Now, here's the tricky part. As he talks about train yourself to be godly, we might be prone to think, well, then I just have to work really hard to be godly. That's not what he's saying. The godliness our Christ-likeness comes from actually spending time with God, from actually the Spirit transforming us from the inside out. He is the one who makes us godly. But what he's saying is devote yourself to the things of God, that you might be so focused on the one who does transform you that godliness will begin to take place in your life. And I love that he uses the example of physical training. That the interesting part, and as I challenged even young adults with this, but as older adults, we have this issue too, that for a lot of us, it is really easy to be disciplined in the temporary. When we're told that we need to do something for our health, it is easy to be disciplined for it. Maybe not easy to be disciplined, but we understand the value of why we stay disciplined. And yet when it talks about spiritual discipline and this training for godliness, it's saying it doesn't have just value in the temporary, although it does, but it has value for the eternal. And yet how many of us in our own life are missing out on actually like the walking with God that we do by engaging in these spiritual disciplines? I was thinking about the idea specifically of prayer. Dallas Willard, who's considered to be kind of one of the modern fathers of spiritual formation, says prayer is talking to God about what we are doing together. And that actually as we walk in these spiritual disciplines, and there's a list of about 12 of them you can Google and find, that actually it's this idea that we're cooperating with grace. That it's not that we do these things to earn a standing before God, but because of what Jesus has done for us, now we get to walk freely in these things. And so I wonder for you today, what would maybe be a way in which you can maybe walk in discipline? Not that it's mutually exclusive from walking in freedom with God, but that because of that freedom, what's maybe something he's asking you to step into? Would it maybe be studying your Bible today? Not just reading it, but studying it. Would it maybe be spending extensive time in prayer? That as you walk with him throughout your day, maybe he's asking you to fast from something today. Maybe you've missed out on celebrating something today, or you need to be in fellowship, or there's lots of different opportunities. But I wonder today, would you take your eyes maybe off of what is temporary and fix your eyes on what is eternal? And would we train for that? Would we fix our eyes knowing that the value of what is coming for all of eternity is worth our attention and our discipline today?